It's crazy times in the world of Magic the Gathering, as the most ridiculous Secret Lair bonus card ever has just been revealed. On top of that, Wizards of the Coast is making significant changes to the Secret Lair product itself. And if that wasn't enough for you, we might be seeing the return of MSRP.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends! I hope the day finds you well, because we have gathered for another installment of Mega Magic News. Now this one is mostly focused on Secret Lair news. The first thing that I want to talk about is the significant changes that are being made to the Secret Lair product, and this is mostly in the form of the actual packaging itself, right? So, if you don't know how the Secret Lair packaging has progressed, I have visual aids for this video. So, the original Secret Lairs, they came in a box like this, and they ended up being a box this big, for about 4 or 5 Magic cards. Now clearly that's an insane amount of packaging, right? But Wizards wanted you to feel like you were getting something impressive and worth your money. So they waited a bit of time and then they went, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and ramp it down, and they moved on in to this style of Secret Lair, where you get the boxes, they're much smaller like this, and then you get the sleeve with the smaller style box. Now again, this is just for a little handful of cards, but this is a big improvement, right, in terms of minimizing the amount of packaging. I mean, if you want to go the opposite direction, you also have the big fat honking Ultimate Edition Secret Lair, but these ones are only available through LGSs. Can you imagine the shipping costs that would be involved on getting these sent out to you direct? But anyways, they are changing it up now. Up on the screen, I'm putting pictures for you of the new Secret Lair packaging. You can see that it is clearly the left-hand one that they're showing off in the image, but it's going to be this envelope. Now, if you had received the Valentine's Day Secret Lair where they messed up and left out the Heliod and sent it out like on the side, it's going to be envelopes that look roughly like that. Now, obviously, this is a bigger envelope altogether, but still, this is going to be used for specific Secret Lair products, all right? So, the ones that they're going to apply this to are going to be parts of the super drop. So you know how they have individual Secret Lairs where you can get, let's say, for example, the Mischief Secret Lair or the Charity Extra Life Secret Lairs that they do? Those will not be a part of this new packaging program. So if you buy those individual Secret Lairs, they will come out to you in the slim boxes that I showed you. But if you order a super drop that has a bunch of Secret Lairs in it, these should all come together, a box full of envelopes, which hopefully will help to reduce shipping costs, but definitely will reduce the amount of packaging. And honestly, as somebody who sat down and opened a couple of super drops here or there, the amount of packaging that came with the original level Secret Lairs was just absolutely absurd. And it literally is just there to play mind games with us so that we feel okay about paying so much money for a handful of cards, right? So the one thing I don't know about this that is unclear to me is if you choose to purchase just a portion of a super drop. So if you just want to buy one Secret Lair that's in a super drop, will that come out in an envelope on its own, or will it be sent out in a slim box? My feeling is that regardless of whether you're getting one as part of the super drop or the whole super drop, that it will just be these envelopes going forwards. Now, for anybody who may be concerned, just so you know, these envelopes are made of really rugged cardboard, at least the Heliod one that I encountered. So it's not like a super flimsy envelope where you're going to end up with the cards being bent in the mail. Don't worry, the cards, if they're foil, will already come pre-bent. That's how Wizards makes them, right? So anyways, that is the new packaging that they have for the Secret Lair. Now let us move on to the most ridiculous Secret Lair bonus card ever, my friends. And actually, on this note, before we really dive into the cards, I just want to let you know that yesterday, when I talked about the bonus cards, there was a situation where the Capricorn Secret Lairs can also have the Jumpstart basic lands in them. So just bear in mind, if after you saw yesterday's video and you're like, yo, I'm gonna go order the Capricorn Secret Lairs to try and get one of the bonus cards that were showed off in yesterday's video, you may just end up getting a forest or a mountain or whatever from Jumpstart. So that I figured I should tack on in case people were hyped about it and running off to purchase things. Now, the card that's been on the screen while I've been yammering here is Lurking Crocodile, the most ridiculous bonus card ever included in a secret lair. I can pretty much guarantee that almost nobody watching this video even knew that this card existed before seeing it right now, because this is the only time this card has been reprinted. Go ahead, in your head, try and guess what set this is from, where it came from. I'll give you a second. Time's up. M12. This was printed in Magic 2012 only. That's it, right? The one set. And it's a genuinely awful card from a mechanical standpoint, right? 1 green and 2 for a 2/2 Crocodile with Bloodthirst 1 and Island Walk. Okay, so if you don't know what Bloodthirst 1 is, it basically says if your opponent was dealt damage before this creature came into play, then it comes into play with a +1/+1 counter. So if you can manage to damage your opponent before you cast this guy, or he comes into play some other way, then he's a 3/3 instead of a 2/2, right? Woo! He's got Island Walk. Like, this is truly dreadful. Yes, it is a great hoser if you're playing against a blue deck in like a draft environment or something like that. Like, that's the only scenario where I can see this being good. Either you're somebody who loves crocodiles and just has, I need all the crocodiles, or you're somebody playing in a sealed environment and your opponent has islands, because land walk abilities are very powerful. The fact that the creature's just unblockable as long as you have that land is potent. Flavor-wise, it makes perfect sense for a crocodile to be both bloodthirsty and difficult to block when it's in the water, right? So the card from a flavor perspective ties together really well. But when you take it as part of this bonus, right? This is the bonus card from the Monster Anatomy 101 Secret Lair. Or wait, sorry. There's a couple of different ones. They're getting twisted up in my head. I might be misnaming the wrong one. That might be the one that like shows you particular elements of their biology or whatever. But this is like the Crocodile Dundee style secret lair where you have these quotes and he's found these like these different wild beasts. The flavor text actually on this card is one of the things that makes me love it the most. It says, preying on unsuspecting goobers, this crocodile is the only foe to ever beat me in a knife fight. And it's so ridiculous. First of all, the fact that it's a magic card that says goobers on it, I adore that. Secondly, look at the artwork. The crocodile, he knows he's inside like an art box, right? He's butting up against the wall and rotating himself around it, almost like those old Snake video games. You ever play those where you try and box your buddy? I'm gonna make you slam into my snake and end your life. You know what I'm talking about? So it's got that kind of a vibe to it. And all the way at the end there, on the tip of his tail, it might be hard to tell because this picture does have some light reflection, but he has that like Crocodile Dundee, almost cowboy style hat. He's giving a thumbs up. He's got the tattoo on his arm and he's holding a knife. That's not a knife. This is a knife, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, this is the Crocodile Dundee vibe. It's hilarious. The idea of Crocodile Jackson, the legendary cowboy who's out getting into knife fights with weird crocodiles, it's just so goofy and out there. And Secret Lair is the perfect place for this stuff, right? Ultimately, because that's the home of goofy, silly, good times. Now, another thing I want to touch on since we're talking about these secret lairs right now is there are increased shipping costs specifically in Australia. If you're not aware, what happened over in Australia is Wizards of the Coast isn't able to work with USPS, or what is it, UPS? USPS? Whatever it is. I get the United States Postal Service and the United Postal Service, whatever it is. One's an independent company, right? Now, normally they were delivering this stuff in Australia, but because whatever happened, that's not going on anymore. Now Wizards of the Coast is using different people to get this out there, and as a result, the shipping costs have gone way up. So I'm hearing that Australians are paying shipping costs of about $100 to get these secret lairs shipped out for the newest wave, and that is a big hit. Now, let's move on to the possible return of MSRP. Now, you're going to want to take this with a grain of salt. Up on the screen, you're going to see the WPN listing for Double Masters 2022, right? So, basically what the WPN is, if you're not familiar with it, it's Wizards Play Network. These are all the stores that are affiliated with Wizards of the Coast. So Wizards gives them promotional information ahead of time saying, here's the products that are coming, here's like a little bit of a marketing blurb, here's what you need to know as the actual store, here are the dates to order it, all that kind of information, right? But what we have right now is just the template for the 2022. But you'll notice specifically that it has MSRP listed there with the asterisk beside it saying applies to US only. And if you're not familiar with MSRP, that stands for Manufacturer's Suggested Retail Price. Now, this is something that for the longest time we had, at least here in North America. I was surprised to discover that MSRP isn't actually a universal thing. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because countries have all kinds of different ways of doing things. It blew my mind to find out that in places like Europe, you can literally just go into a store and buy something off a shelf, and whatever the price it says on the shelf is the price you pay at the register, right? Like in Canada and North America, you've got the price on the shelf, and then you've got the price you actually pay when you get to the register. Instead of having all the taxes factored in and put on the shelf for you, like, oh, boom, you know exactly what you're paying, you have to know how to calculate the tax. And sometimes it varies. Are you dealing with 5%, 8%, 13%, right? So it's weird. Different countries function differently when it comes to this sort of thing, right? So MSRP is something where the companies who make the product say, this is the price that we believe the product should be sold at. And depending on the company, that MSRP can really be a suggestion or more of a firm sort of thing. If you look at companies like Game Workshops, for example, when I used to help out at the game store, I noticed that Games Workshop stuff could never be discounted past a certain level. They have absolute rules about like MSRP and the amount of discounts and things you can do in that regard. Now, Wizards of the Coast doesn't operate the same way, or at least didn't with MSRP in the past, right? They put it out there, but it was really up to the stores individually to determine what kind of price they were going to go with. And most of the time, MSRP was beneficial for the stores because it's not them setting the prices. It's Wizards of the Coast saying this is what it's worth and them just going, okay, we're selling it for what it's worth. MSRP did cause a little bit of a hiccup for local game stores when it specifically came to the From the Vault product, because the From the Vault product was a very weird beast. Wizards of the Coast created it as a reward for game stores. And so they set the MSRP down at like $35, but they were never intending for game stores to sell it at $35. They were intending for game stores to be able to sell it much higher. But the way it worked is the MSRP that Wizards set on the product, that's how the distributors would determine what they were going to charge for the end purchaser, like the LGS. So that was one situation where MSRP worked against local game stores, but it's literally the only one. So MSRP, as far as I'm concerned, is a fantastic way to help LGSs, because otherwise, whenever there's a price increase on Magic cards, you end up getting an announcement by Wizards of the Coast put up on the website, but most people don't see that. They just go into their game store and they see that Magic packs are now 15%, 20% more, whatever it is, and Wizards has moved the price up. The cost has moved up, but the optics of it haven't changed, so the end consumer can't see it. Again, I worked in an LGS and I saw this firsthand. After Wizards discontinued MSRP, I watched Buddy, who owned the store, get blamed for being greedy and grasping when it was literally Wizards moved up the price. They're just not saying anything about it now. So if we're actually returning to an era where MSRP is coming back, that would be greatly beneficial to take some of the flack off of LGSs. And at the same time, it does help if there are some LGSs. Not all the local gaming stores are run by great people. A lot of them are, but there are some people out there who will take advantage. So having the MSRP also helps consumers to have a rough idea of whether their LGS is actually staying on par with what the price range should be. Now, all that being said, this we're looking at could easily be an ancient placeholder template that auto gets preloaded for every single product that Wizards puts out. And so this is basically almost like a vestigial tale from when they did MSRP. So it's entirely possible that when this form gets filled out, that MSRP area gets deleted, and it's just not worth the company's time or money to go ahead and fix the original template that gets preloaded, because you can just go delete, 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 boom, done, right? So I lean towards most likely we're not seeing a return to MSRP, mainly because I don't really see the financial benefit to Wizards of the Coast for them to bring it back, right? If they choose to bring it back, now more information is on the table, and it feels like Wizards really likes to be secretive about as much as they can. So I don't really think MSRP is coming back, most likely, but there is the potential, and it was interesting to talk about the history of it and the potential of its return. So a big thank you to all of my patrons. I will leave links up on the screen for some more enjoyable content if you'd like to spend some more time together, and I will see you all next time, my friends.